Hi, this is Sarah Lacy. Welcome backstage at New York TechCrunch Disrupt. I'm here with the Godfather of the East and the Godfather of the West who joined forces today. Godfather of the East, Eric Hippo, Godfather of the West, Ron Conway. We announced on TechCrunch today about your new partnership. I know that you guys have a personal history together. Why don't you Silicon Valley in '99 and I couldn't get a job at the Red Herring, so I had to wait around to get a job at the new one.
No, this one's lasting longer.
Right.
If you recall, the Red Herring went out of business.
Yeah.
But in the heyday of the Red Herring, when Eric was running all of Ziff Davis,
This was really at the center of technology. It was the media company that served all of technology. So as a result, we got involved in a lot of startups, and that's how we found Yahoo and invested
a lot when Eric was at SoftBank, and then he went off to the Huffington Post, slight intermission. But now with Lair Ventures, we're all back in the same business.
Now everyone talks about it, and we talked about it on TechCrunch, there's sort of an obvious reason for you guys to partner in terms of your network here, and also the networks of your team, not to make it just about you guys. But you know, this is a very what is it about the two of you, what do you like working with each other? Or what's sort of unique about working with Ron that, you know, is something other than he just sees a lot of deal flow?
Well, we'll some of the highest people in our industry and say, please, you've got to pay attention to these folks, they're going to change the world, help them. In many ways, I and my partners, we do the same thing. Focus will be on helping those companies.
Right. Ron, we say that entrepreneurs can sort of call on these guys and get connections into advertising media. What does that really mean? What types of, is it for recruiting? Is it for deal making? Where do you think the entrepreneurs in your portfolio would really feet on the street benefit from this partnership? Right.
Right. Increasingly, big brands have a visceral need to understand what is going on that's going to change their world from a marketing point of view, from a brand image point of view, and we are able to make introductions to...
When it comes to those old media elite, I'm curious what you're seeing, Eric, in terms of their willingness and their appetite to really embrace startups. Mark Andreessen has some great stories of the early days of Netscape when he went into the Time Warner offices and everyone told him, you know, no one would use this thing, this is ridiculous, and you know, he's like, you were wrong. And you know, we heard yesterday with someone talk about the music industry. Music industry is still fighting startups. You know, there's been some tension that you've seen at the Huffington Post between the New York Times dismissing you guys as all kittens, and New York Times has attacked TechCrunch too. Do you think the old media world in New York really wants to embrace these startups at this point?
I do, and the reason for that is that there is a generational change at the top, or at least if not at...
What we were talking about yesterday about the age of entrepreneurs. Do you think of peak entrepreneurs at 25? I mean, you just started and ran a pretty amazing company with a couple entrepreneurs who certainly weren't under 30.
Yes, that's right. We're
younger than me, so...
You know, I think it's all about domain knowledge. I think if you're deeply experienced and deeply knowledgeable about a particular domain, and you...
The first VCs in the Valley who really came out and gave you New York credit. We've always been very dismissive of New York until recently. What was it you saw 5 years ago? Was it any specific company? Was it a lot of companies? What was it that made you start taking New York seriously?
I think it was the volume of companies that we started seeing, and then at the same time, the quality of the companies. Chris Dixon, right. There was a company...
Forward to seeing on both coasts what you guys do. How many entrepreneurs take advantage of this partnership? Because that's what's really going to determine what it winds up meaning for the industry, both industries.
Exactly.